Hey Bremerton, Josh Farley with the Kitsap Sun out with the students at Armin Jahr Elementary School this morning. But who was Armin Jahr? We're going to find out on this week's Bremerton Beat Blast. What do we have for them, kids?
5 stories!
Welcome back to this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast, sponsored by the Admiral Theater. Story number 1 today, Armin Jahr Elementary School in East Bremerton turns 50 years old this year. But who was this Armin Jahr fellow, you ask? He was a pretty big deal here in Bremerton, the first president of Olympic College and the superintendent of Bremerton schools. He was a nationally recognized leader who led a delegation to the USSR, and he had met several presidents. He broke ground on the school for which he is named, but he did not survive to see it opened in 1968.
He was always a leader with a servant's heart. It was the same thing he did as a parent, took care of the family. He did the same thing for the school district, staff, and personnel. And that built great relationships that paid dividends for the district over time.
I just hope to give back to these students. So they're just so special, and I had, like I said, a lot of good teachers that broke things down for me and taught me how to do stuff. And I just want to have faith in each of our kids every day and hopefully inspire them.
And Armin Jahr for 50 years has made a difference in kids' lives, day in and day out. And if he was here right now, he would smile, he'd give them all hugs, he'd shake their hands, because that was when he was in the business.
Story number 2, you might have noticed some rather festive windows around Bremerton and Port Orchard lately. They're the work of artist Danielle Rubert, whose murals are drawing quite a buzz. To Danielle, she's just drawing one line at a time, the old-fashioned way.
It's taking pride in the space that they're at, and not just making sure that the space is clean. It's making it welcoming, it's making it playful and friendly. There's a lot of commuters that walk through here and go to their offices or go to the shipyard every single day, and they can look at this and they can smile, and it brings people into the spirit of being festive, or lets people identify with what's happening in that moment.
Story number 3, not far from Armin Jahr Elementary School, you'll find the old East High School gymnasium, which now stands alone with the Boys and Girls Club off Wheaton Way, where crews recently demolished the old 1956 constructed school. There's no plans as yet for the rest of the school site. Story number 4 today, there's a new burger joint in town, and it's a familiar name. Carl's Jr., in planning for more than a decade, is finally open off of Kitsap Way next to Winco. And while you might think of it as corporate, its local owners have given it some Bremerton touches.
Double cheese? Yeah, double cheese regular. It really began because we were embraced with open arms here. And the city seemed to really want us to be here, and we really want to be here. Bremerton seemed like the city that would be really hungry for a Carl's Jr. So far, we're off to a great start. This really came out of necessity in Gig Harbor. We had a really small site, and in order to get the seating and visibility we wanted, we went up. So it's kind of risky. We didn't know how it would work out. People responded really well to it, so we thought, hey, we'd do it again here. We have a view of Oyster Bay. It's very serene.
And finally, story number 5 this week, what's on tap for your weekend, sponsored by Silver City Brewery Taproom. This weekend marks the annual Wreaths Across America, an annual tradition that lays a wreath at all veterans' graves.
I don't think that any veteran needs to be forgotten. It doesn't matter when they served or how they served. It matters that somebody remembers them. Whether they died because of health issues or they died in acts of war, they need to be remembered.
That's going to do it for this week's Bremerton Beat Blast. Special thanks to our sponsors and all of you who subscribe to the Kitsap Sun. You made this happen. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.